Okay, so we're going to look at how to pay a killer compliment. So when it comes to paying a compliment, we really want to make sure that we're using our best skills to make sure that compliment creates the maximum impact on the other person. So when we are paying a compliment, I did touch on this a little bit in our last chapter, where we're really thinking about how we can put that compliment across in the best way. So as I mentioned, we don't want to go too explicit. So we don't want to really usually start with a compliment that's very physical or very much about somebody's body or physical appearance. That may feel a little bit strong. Of course, it's okay to say to someone if they turn up on a first date, you look great, but I would probably at that point leave physical compliments behind. So we don't want to focus on the physical compliment, which could be coming on too strong. But on the other hand, we don't want to go too far in the other direction, and as I would say, accidentally come across like somebody's great aunt. And by coming across as somebody's great aunt, I mean by saying something like, you know, that dress with that floral pattern, it looks just lovely on you. Again, that's too much in the opposite direction. Instead, I think the best compliments are actually those that focus on somebody's personality and behaviour. This is because instead of focusing on their looks, which they didn't really have to do too much usually to be attractive, instead it's good for you to focus on something that they have actively contributed to the interaction. So what they've contributed to that interaction is they will have contributed a part of their personality or something or part of their behaviour. And you want to show that you've really noticed and you really value certain aspects of their personality and who they are and what they're about. Because of this, what we want to do and what we want to think about is we want to think about how you can show that to another person. So if you really like how somebody always rolls their eyes when you're telling them a joke, or you like how someone smiles when they're talking about their family, or you like how passionate someone sounds about their career, these are actually amazing things to compliment someone on. Someone's going to feel really validated that you've actually noticed that about them. And because of that, the compliment will feel so much more worthwhile and so much more personal than had you just commented about their appearance. So how do we go about, first of all, paying that compliment? So we know, first of all, we want to recognise something about what they're doing or how they're behaving. Secondly, we want to say something along the lines of, I like how you are. So you could say, I like how you always roll your eyes when I'm telling you my jokes. Or I like how your face lights up when you talk about your sister. Or I really like how passionate you are about your career. You can even go a step further here and again use that little flirty word out of context. And you can say, I find it really attractive how ambitious you are. So this is a killer compliment. We're really drawing attention to something someone's contributed. Now, to make the moment around this compliment even more sparky, we want to practice actually how we're going to insert that compliment into the conversation. Now, it can be tempting when we're paying a compliment to rush it out and say it really quickly because we're slightly embarrassed about having said anything at all. But instead, we really want to remember to own that moment and enjoy when we are paying a compliment to somebody else. To do this, the ideal thing is for you to notice when someone is doing that behaviour or that thing that you really like about them. When they're doing it, if you are on a date in real life and it is allowed within social distancing, so this might be a technique that you saved to the start of 2021, what you want to do is you actually want to reach across and just gently touch them on the forearm and say, I'm just going to have to stop you there. And I know what you're thinking. That moment you reach out and touch them on their forearm and shoulder, that is going to create a shock tension in the interaction. But remember, this is actually what we're going for. We don't want to be too cozy just yet. And actually creating a bit of tension is going to be really powerful. Also, for the most part, when we're not social distancing, most people will feel comfortable with being touched on their shoulder or their forearm. That's quite a safe place to touch somebody. So you're going to reach over, give a really brief, gentle touch using the back of your hand on their shoulder and say, I just had to say, I really like how you, or I find it really attractive how, blah, 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 blah. Then you again reach over, tap them again and say, anyway, sorry, I interrupted, please continue. So what you're doing here is by stopping the person's flow of conversation, paying your killer compliment, and then restarting the flow of conversation, if we had like a tensionometer for this date, we would see that it's going along and it's like, whoa, what was that? But what I want you to remember is actually these points of tension, whether that's to do with you having some playful disagreement with a person, whether it's about you challenging a person, teasing them on your boundaries, all of this actually helps to create the spark. On that first date, we don't want to necessarily feel too cozy. Whilst of course we might all want to end up having amazing committed relationships where we can just Netflix and cozy chill in our matching onesies with our amazing partners, before we get there, the gateway to getting towards that amazing and committed and authentic relationship is actually by having a date where you can feel that degree of spark and connection that makes you excited enough to continue seeing someone. It gives you that motivation to keep going on the process of getting to know someone. So from today, I really hope that you can learn that the spark is a lot about your particular frame of mind. It's about how you feel within yourself. And because of that, you have so much opportunity here to both turn up to your date in a better frame of mind to experience the spark or to send out your intentions. And also you can use certain techniques just to test the water to see if you could have that level of compatibility with someone, because I don't want you to miss out on any opportunities to find an amazing match for you. And because of that, I want you to focus on everything you can do to contribute to experiencing this spark. So let's just quickly recap on that last chapter. So I want you to remember, when you're giving a killer compliment, we always want to give specific compliments that focus on a person's personality or something they've contributed to the conversation other than their looks. And actually having a bit of moment of tension isn't a bad thing. So I have got a few more questions that have come in from people that have already been listening that I'm really excited to answer for you. So when is it able to say, because it's reasonable to expect fidelity in a relationship? Well, by the fact you've sent that question in, I would imagine that fidelity is something that's very important to you. And what I want us to all remember is when we get to know someone, each of us might have slightly different ideas around when a relationship becomes committed. Some people will be very much of the mind that when they have a date with someone, or when they begin even talking to someone, that they wouldn't necessarily be talking to other people or looking to go on any other dates. They like to really focus on one person at a time. Other people might also ultimately want commitment, but they may feel slightly more comfortable with maybe chatting to a few different people and getting to know multiple people at once. Because of this, again, it's all about finding someone who shares your value systems and is on the same page as you. Because of this, I would suggest, rather than asking a person like how many people they're chatting to or are they seeing someone else, I would actually start by expressing what your opinion is around this. So you could say something really simply like, I just love to really focus on one person at a time, or, I've got so much going on in my life, I just like to see one person, see how it goes with one person as I go. So by saying something like this, you give the other person a really good opportunity here to respond and to check in how they feel about commitment without asking them a question which may, or asking them for commitment too early on in that journey. Because remember, before we start thinking about commitment, it's actually really important that we focus on connection, because commitment should be a natural consequence of feeling that really nice, strong connection to someone. Okay, so we've got the next question here, which says, how to avoid feeling demotivated about online dating, even if you've been doing it for years. Now, I really understand motivation. I keep talking about it because it is so important for dating. And I really hope actually that by getting in a good mindset around the spark, and also by learning some techniques to make your messages and your dates a bit more sparky, that you can start to feel a little bit more excited and start to feel that motivation to go out there and meet someone again. If not, it is totally okay if you need to take a little bit of a time out and take a couple of weeks off dating just to focus on yourself and recharge your batteries. Then when you go back to dating, you want to think about how you can do things differently. If perhaps you've got into the habit of messaging someone from your sofa, or when you're bored, or when you're in the queue, or maybe your online dating profile has been the same for months, if not years, a really good place to restart your motivation levels and to send a powerful signal to yourself that, hey, stuff is going to be different this time, is actually to spruce up your online dating profile, to really message in a mindful way. So really focusing on sending high quality messages to other people that really notice something about them. So try to change how you engage with with the dating process as a whole to help you get back to your point of motivation. So finally, I've been asked, how do you know if something is real? And of course, we are all here because you want to start something real. And as I said, though we have been talking about creating the spark, which is all about those early stages of dating, what we're really aiming for, and the spark is just a little milestone on the way to having that committed, connected, amazing relationship. Now, all I can say is when you do get into that committed and connected, amazing relationship, what it will feel like is it will feel secure, it will feel supportive, you're going to feel like you're totally clear, you never have to spend a day or a moment of your time thinking or wondering if this other person likes you. You will 100% know they like you, that they're here for you, and there's no lack of clarity or no confusion about that. We're all here looking for people who are consistent, high quality partners who are then going to give us that support and connection, which means, you know what, we can just consider our dating life sorted and go out and conquer the rest of the world and all of the other amazing things that you want to be doing with your lives. So we are now reaching the end of our tutorial session. However, very exciting news, we do have 30 whole minutes where we're going to be doing a live Q&A. So I'm going to be answering your questions as they come in. There is still all the time to submit your questions. So if you haven't submitted a question yet, make sure you use the box on this page to do so. And I'm going to be answering as many as possible. And if you could stick around to the end of the session here, for those of you who have sent questions in, I am really excited to announce we have 2 amazing prizes that we're going to be giving away this evening. The first of which is going to be for non-Match members out there. You stand the opportunity to get 6 months free membership at Match. Think of all the people you could meet. It's going to be amazing. And if you're already a part of this incredible Match community, then you will receive our Unite Home Study program. So you can get absolutely tons of my dating advice to help you get the best profile, the best conversation skills, the best messaging skills, and really set you up for 2021. So make sure you stick around to the end to see if you are one of our winners tonight. And now I'm going to begin our amazing live Q&A.